Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Kim Copeland of Kim Copeland Productions, and I'm one of the sponsors of the Songwriters Connection e-tip that Susan Tucker puts out. And Susan has asked me to do a little question and answer session occasionally for you guys because I know you have a lot of questions out there, and those of you who don't live in Nashville and may not have the opportunity to network with the industry people here, kind of wonder how it works behind the curtain. So we're here. That's what Susan does, and that's what I love about her Songwriters Connection e-tip, is that she does try and inform and enlighten and kind of spread the wealth of information for those of you who may not live here. So in the interest of that, I'm recording this today to kind of reach out to all of you and answer some of the questions that have come in. Those of you who have questions, we'll be doing this occasionally and as frequently as we can. So please feel free to send in your questions that you may have for me as a producer or even about the industry. We're happy to answer whatever questions we can to kind of save you some pitfalls that the rest of us have stepped in and get your career started, especially since it's a new year. We have new energy and anxious for everybody to have huge success this year, and we'd love to be a part of it. Send your questions to the Songwriters Connection e-tip. There's information on there about how to do it. Okay? So let's take a few questions now from you. The first one is from Carrie Tillman. Hi, Carrie. And he wants to know, I always hear writers talk about how important the opening line is. What are your thoughts? There's no question, Carrie. The opening line either sucks a listener into your song or disengages them. If you don't catch their interest in that first line, they're not going to listen for the second line, and certainly not further on down the song. I hear songwriters all the time say, yeah, but I'm saving that for my bridge. And my thought, with my critique service, what I always tell them is, if you don't hook them in, the bridge is way too late in the song to save your special thoughts for. You need to give them vital information up front. I like to use the opening line really to set the scene of the song, to establish what we're going to talk about, the message, and to give them the vehicle for that message. Kind of answer the who, what, where, when, why, and how, or as much of that as you can in the opening line, so that the listener immediately kind of sees the video start playing and feels a connection to the characters or the scene or the message or the emotion of your song. This is a real good little test that I use when I'm teaching workshops. It won't work with every song specifically, but you should write your opening line at the top of a random sheet of paper and then read every line of your lyric throughout your song and see if it all refers back to that opening line. It may not grammatically make sense, but it should tie into that thought. That thought should set up every thought that you give the listener after that, so that it all connects and relates back to one focused message for your song. Opening line, give them as much information as you can, be as clear and concise as you can, and be sure and give them the emotion behind the action so that they're drawn into it emotionally from the top. Okay? Hope that helps. Next question is from Bob Washington. Hi, Bob. Hey, Kim, I really appreciate your Songposium and the Songwriters Connection e-tips. I enjoy the articles a lot, and what I'd like to know is more about getting a song plugger. How does that work? I get asked about song pluggers all the time, and here are my thoughts on it. They are a wonderful service. Most song pluggers are people who have experience, they all have experience and connections in pitching songs to artists and to record labels and producers, people who can actually get your songs cut and on the radio and on records that sell. They're a great resource. I don't really recommend hiring a song plugger until you have a pretty good catalog of songs. I'd like to have at least 12 to 15 presentable demos, and by that I mean really pitchable. The more you give a song plugger, the better they can work for you. So, for instance, if you give them guitar vocals to pitch, most of them won't pitch guitar vocals or simple recordings anymore because their competition is out there pitching, recordings that sound like records. What a song plugger does is act like an individual publisher, and you're paying them a salary to represent your catalog. Therefore, I don't think you really get your money's worth if you only have 3 or 4 songs. So songwriters come to me sometimes and they say, oh, I've got these 2 songs I really believe in and I want to hire this song plugger. I don't think you get your money's worth just having a couple of songs, no matter how good they are, because artists only cut so many albums per year. There's only so many albums recorded. So if your song plugger has 2 songs to represent, you're paying him the same salary as someone who has 60 songs to represent maybe. And when they pitch those two songs around town for that round of recordings, and everyone's heard them, if nobody's bought them right then, you know, bought into it, then you know, you're stuck. You have to wait until the next round of recording, the next time that artist comes around that your song's suitable for, to get it pitched again. So you really need to give them a lot of songs so that if somebody turns down one, they've got more ammunition to come back with. It can keep your catalog rotating. So that's the thing. They mostly charge on a salary. Some of them also add a commission based on the cuts and how high your song climbs on the charts and so forth. They're all differently, and it's an individual thing, so you just have to talk to individual song pluggers. Find somebody that really believes in your songs and that you believe in. Check their credentials. Insist on reports on who and when they pitched it to, and any feedback they can give you that they're getting from other people. Again, the more you give them, the more you get out of it. If you give them amazing demos that they can walk into any label with and not be ashamed to pitch at any pitch meeting, you're going to go further with it. If you give them demos that have been recorded at the limited press rate and are available to pitch to television and film, that gives them a lot more opportunity to pitch your songs and to get action on your catalog. Again, if you're limited and you want to spend your money on a song plugger instead of recordings, and you give them guitar vocals and they'll accept those, you have to understand that their pitch opportunities for those are going to be limited. So you're not going to get as much for your money. So the better product you give them, the more opportunities they're going to have for everybody to make money on it and enjoy it. Okay? I hope that's helpful. The difference between a song plugger and a publisher is that a publisher doesn't make any money until you get a cut. A song plugger works for a salary. And I know it's very confusing, it can be very expensive, but the good thing is, like I say, I get asked this question a lot, and Susan and I are very into helping songwriters. And we're talking with some people now and are very close, I think, to having a deal set up with someone who is going to act as a song plugger for songwriters for no charge. And so we'll keep you posted on that. Stay tuned to the Songwriters Connection. When we get this worked out, it's going to be an amazing opportunity for y'all. So you do want to pay attention to that. Okay, that's all I can say about it for now, but it's in the works. Okay, in case you were noticing that noise in the background, just thought we should show you that it's Maddie chewing on a rawhide and not a problem with your computer. Let's do one more question today. This one is from Crystal Green. Hi Crystal, good to hear from you. Since I've started doing my demos with you, I've noticed a huge difference in getting my foot in the proverbial door. What happened to the days of guitar vocal demos and writers singing their own demos? Well, Crystal, I know you and I have talked about this a bit, but it's probably good to touch on it with everyone else who's curious. Back in the good old days, you could pretty well walk into a publisher's office with your guitar and sit down and play them songs. And the difference now is that, number one, there's a lot more songwriters and it's just more competitive. But also, songwriters along the way started really spoiling producers and A&R people by bringing them demos that pretty much sounded like records. And that's what your competition is doing. And no matter how much producers and A&R people say that they are song people and can hear through demos, we're all human. And if you're sitting there listening through 200 songs really quickly to try and nail down 10 songs for a project, and you hear something come on that really sounds like it could be on the radio right then. It has the signature musical hook, it has the great rhythm section, it has the vocal out front by a great vocalist who's really delivering the message of the song, not just singing it but selling it. And then you hear something come on behind that that's kind of a scratchy guitar vocal. They just don't have the time really to appreciate what a song could be. And the other thing is, from their standpoint, why should they put money, why should publishers put money into paying for the production of a demo that is what they have to have now to be on the front line pitching these songs? They kind of count on the songwriter to do that. And it's unfortunate because publishers used to pay for more demos than they do now, and A&R used to be more accessible and require lesser demos than they do now. But, you know, as they say, knowledge is power. Knowing the game is halfway to winning the game. So what I do is try and really provide quality demos at much less cost than the hit songwriters are spending on it, because I'm so organized and I do so much pre-production that I don't burn studio dollars the way they do. But that's what I strive to do. The way I do your demos, Crystal, is the same way I do my demos, and I know what the competition is. I'm hearing what Jeffrey Steele and Gary Burr and Bob DiPiero and Craig Wiseman and all the hit writers are pitching. I hear their demos. That's what I use as my litmus test, you know, for my demos to stand up against and make them affordable to all of us to be able to be competitive. So I don't have the easy answer. The good old days are gone, but I'm real happy that my demos are helping you get the foot in the door. I have another writer who just signed his first publishing deal based on some demos that we did late last year, and I'm thrilled for him, thrilled for you, and let's keep up the good success. Send in your questions, and I'll be happy to answer more as they come in, and I hope this has been of help to you, and Happy New Year.